It is Sex Advice Week on the Bert Show. We spent some time on social media asking you guys if we were going to do this for a week and get you guys some advice on any area when it comes to sex, what would those areas be? First one up, porn.
I don't know why you felt the need to say it like that. We have a professional staring us in the face right now, a professional therapist, and you got to go, porn.
She enjoyed it.
She did enjoy it.
I'm here for it.
Well, I'm sorry you missed it yesterday. We covered porn.
Jeez.
Yeah, you got the boring of the two, man. We had a great time with porn yesterday. And you also told us that you guys wanted us to cover reproductive challenges. So I'm assuming Kristen is going to take over here with Andrea Berkeley from the Honest Women podcast.
So I've gotten plenty of emails. So what we would like to discuss today is when it comes to infertility and reproductive challenges, the relationship between the couple and also relationships between friends, because those can become strained as well.
It's not nearly as fun to say infertility. Porn.
Oh, that one didn't.
It doesn't hit the same.
It doesn't.
Reproductive challenges.
Now it's just sad. I lived it. I trust. I can tell you it is. Hi, Kristen. I'm a longtime listener and know how before Jimmy, you and Bart struggled with fertility issues and love how transparent you are with your journey. I'm currently 26 weeks pregnant, due with our first baby girl, but I would really like your advice on how to handle a situation with my best friend. My best friend, let's call her Annie, found out she was pregnant a couple weeks before we did. We were super excited about the idea that we would be having kids so close together. Unfortunately, around the time she was 8 weeks along, she had, I'm going to go ahead and give the trigger warning here because we're going to be talking about pregnancy loss. She had a miscarriage. Her and her husband took it very hard as expected. However, since then, our friendship has been a little rocky. After it happened, I tried to be there for her the best I could. We talked it all through, and I was also self-aware not to talk about my pregnancy around her. Keep in mind, her older sister was also pregnant at the time and just had her baby. I know, the perfect storm. This all happened about 4 months ago, and so every time I'm around her, she seems upset, and if my pregnancy is ever brought up, she gets emotional and has to leave the room. I am super understanding of what she's going through. Although I have not lived it myself, I work in a healthcare specialty where I see this all of the time. My question to you is, do you have any advice on how to handle this situation on my end? On one hand, I want to be there to support my friend. And on the other hand, I also want to enjoy my pregnancy and not be afraid to talk about it around her. She's like a sister to me, my maid of honor at our wedding. We've been friends for 10 plus years. We have talked recently, but did not feel like we made much progress. And I didn't feel like I was able to say everything I needed to say since she is still super emotional and grieving. Any advice appreciated. Thank you.
All right. Andrea from the Honest Women podcast. What do you got?
This is such a difficult situation, and it's one that's happening all the time. The World Health Organization actually says that about 17.6% of couples experience some form of infertility, whether that's pregnancy loss or stillbirth or just the inability to get pregnant. And so if you imagine 1 in 5-ish couples is going through this, and a lot of their friends are having babies, this just comes up all the time. So you guys are each at the center, you're the main character of your own story in a moment that's incredibly pivotal. And normally you would be here for one another. Pregnancy it's so exciting. It's scary. It's something we want to talk about and feel and experience. And it's kind of everything. It's also very visible. And loss. I mean, this is probably the biggest loss that your friend has ever gone through. And like I said, normally you would be here. You would be each other's number one support. But right now, I hear you guys are doing your best, but you just can't. And in some ways, that has to be okay. Like it has to be okay that she can't be there for you. And it also has to be okay that you can't be there for her because your pregnancy is a living, breathing, growing reminder of the loss that she's had, even if you never say anything about it.
That's the reality of it, but sometimes you just can't shake that. So what do you do in a case like that?
I think the important thing, if you're going to talk again, and you should, is start with, I love you. You're my best friend. I want to be here for you. Like, I want to be your number one support, and I'm trying. But I can see the barrier that we're running into. and I want you here for me. And I know you can't do that. It's us against the problem. The problem is this situation that we're in, this kind of tragic situation. It's not you. It's not me.
When it comes to, Andrea, infertility and the couple that's dealing with it, what are some of the major issues that you see, and do you have any advice for them if they're going through this? Because fortunately for my husband and I, our strength came in being in that valley. Like we were stronger for it. We got closer because of it, but I know that's not the case for every couple, and that something like infertility could really drive them apart.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you guys are lucky that drew you together, and some couples do thrive in those low points because I'm guessing that there was a lot of sharing of emotions, empathy, connection. You guys were really in it together. A lot of couples feel not in it together because the experience of the woman who's going through infertility is so different than the man, even though we know that 1/3 of infertility is driven by a male partner, 1/3 by a female, and 1/3 we just kind of don't know. It's probably a combination of both. But a woman going through that physically in her body every month, the reminder it's not working, really start to internalize, like, I feel broken. This isn't something happening to me anymore. It's who I am.
It's how I felt. I felt like a failure and I felt broken.
Yeah. And it's unlikely that your husband felt exactly the same way, though if he could hear you, if he could listen, if he could, actually make some space for that, instead of what a lot of men want to do when they hit those emotional valleys is they want to fix the problem. So they say, don't worry about it. We'll try again next month. It's okay. We're good, right? I'm here. I love you. We're good. Next month. And meanwhile, his partner's crumbling inside and doesn't feel that same way. That's where that valley can come from. And also because we're talking about sex, it just fundamentally changes what sex is all about. It goes from joy and connection to like a to-do list thing that could end in tragedy.
What is the thing that you should say to somebody that trusts you enough to tell you that they're going through this kind of thing? Because I think the cliches are really pretty offensive. Like, just go on a vacation and have sex. Once you loosen up a little bit, you guys will have a baby.
Let go and let go.
Let go and let
Right. Oh my gosh, it's so offensive. Literally none of that. The only thing I want you to say is, I'm so honored that you would share that with me. Thank you for telling me. It matters. I hear you. If you can relate, you can say, I can relate. If you can't, just say, I'm so honored that you would share that with me. Literally nothing else you say is going to help. It's all awful. And honestly, most people suffer in silence. So it truly is an honor that someone would say, actually, we've been trying to have a baby for a year and we haven't gotten pregnant.
I feel like sometimes there's power in letting it be awful instead of trying to make it better. Just really embracing the fact that this sucks. It's not fair.
Yeah.
It's awful. And I think that's all that really needs to be said.
just the acknowledgement.
The acknowledgement, yeah.
And the presence. So I did not experience miscarriage, but my best friend did this last year. This is the work I do every day, but there was nothing like going over to her house and going to where she was stuck in bed and literally laying next to her while she wept. And we just were there together. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. And this is my job. But sometimes just being there while someone feels something so deeply is the best thing that you can do. And it's a big deal.
That's Andrea Berkeley. She is from the Honest Women podcast. Tomorrow on our Sex Advice Week, sexual dysfunction. So I know Mo will be listening very closely. Wow.
Today.
I was minding my business.
Jeez.
Oh my God.
The Bert Show.